So, for a long time, I've had this fear, and it has to do with things, feeling like things need to be a certain way before starting something. Like, I have to have this certain, how do I explain it? It's like I have to have these certain things in order to feel comfortable getting going on something. Such as like starting a YouTube channel, like having equipment and the perfect, what I feel is like the perfect like space, backdrop, all of those things that I feel that I need for it to have any quality to it. And that has really hindered my ability to get something going for myself. Because I think what it comes down to is fear of failure. And that's something that has followed me around since I was a child. Because when I was young, the things I was taught were, if I didn't do things in a certain way that was required of me, I would fail. I wouldn't go into heaven and live with God and see my family, and I'd be separated. I wouldn't be able to access the kingdom of heaven. And I'm pretty sure that's where it comes from. A big part of it anyway. And I've always known the fear is there, and that it's probably the main culprit in why I hesitate and procrastinate and make excuses for, like, this isn't going to work because of this. This isn't going to work because I don't have that. This isn't going to work because of anything. Just thinking that it's not going to work because of blank. And I could easily fill in all of those blanks. And I realize, like, I start something and then I tell myself, yeah, it's not going to work because of this. And then I stop. And I try something else. I mean, I have a ton of interests. Like, I'm interested in all sorts of different things. And I love, when I get interested in something, I love learning about it, and I really go deep. I go pretty hot and heavy into that. But then I come up with these sometimes most random sabotaging thoughts and ideas of why I probably shouldn't follow through with it. And I can imagine so many times that I've done that to myself and haven't followed through, and sometimes I lose interest. Like, I think I'm interested in something, and then, a month or two goes by and I'm like, I don't really like it anymore. It's really frustrating because I know this about myself. I become more maturely aware of it in the past few years. As an example, like, what was it, last year, 2025, in like the spring, I really felt like I wanted to become a fitness coach. And I felt really passionate about it. I felt passionate about helping people get healthy, and setting goals for things to make their lives better in fitness. And I was, working out 4 or 5 days a week and gaining a lot of knowledge. And, by me living what I was teaching, like, I was trying to be an example of that, like, as far as being fit and consistent with it. And and I was doing the course with NASM, and I was going to get certified as a personal trainer. And I wanted to get a certification in nutrition and a few others. I just kind of wanted everything, just so I had more of a broad set of credentials. And somewhere along the way, I was like, I don't want to do it. Something happened. I remember it was almost like it was kind of like in between relationships or something like that at that time. And I just all of a sudden like lost interest. And like, I was literally about to take the test. I was preparing for the test. Yeah, that's what it was. I was preparing for the test, and I was taking the practice test, and I was actually scoring pretty good. And then I just stopped, like the most random point. I mean, and probably the worst point at the very end. I was like, I'm done. I don't know why. I know I had some excuses, or I had some reasons, but I didn't follow through with that. And it's like I'm afraid that it'll work out. I think the other thing is that I'm afraid it's not right for me. I'm afraid I made the wrong choice. And that's something I had as a kid quite a bit as well, is that my choices were always wrong. I was always being judged on my choices, because if it wasn't in line with the faith that I was being taught, then I would be judged harshly on that. And again, like, I wouldn't end up in heaven because of that. Like, it's so sad to live that way. You just never feel like you're good enough. And to be a little kid and not even have any understanding around any of that stuff and what it means, and you don't know any better. You don't know. You're learning from your parents who are raising you. They're your main light and pillar in, this world when you enter it. And I think of like how much time, between being a child and then becoming an adult, and then having to unlearn all this stuff and then relearn like what it is like I actually am, is just, I mean, that's a lot of work. That's an incredible amount of energy. year after year after year after year of these patterns and this programming, because that's literally what it is. It's a program. And a lot of people are talking about that these days, is the programming that we have, kind of whether it's conscious or unconscious, a lot of it being unconscious, not understanding where it's coming from and how it plays a role in everything that you do in every second of your life, every moment of your life, how that is directing you, leading you. So I have these fears about it not working out, or that I'm making the wrong decision. I'm making the wrong choice. I second guess myself, the doubt. I mean, it's really oppressive stuff. It's terrible. You feel so like locked up in it that you can't make a decision until you force yourself to just do something. And I've done that a couple times, but then I end up kind of cracking, and it just kind of fizzles away. So these fears with having to have everything be like the table set perfectly, everything's in its place and where it needs to be. Okay, now I can start, now I can get going. And I've had people say to my face, like I've hired a coach or two, and they say to my face, they're like, it doesn't have to be perfect, dude. Like, just get going. It'll develop. And I don't want to listen to them because I don't believe it. I don't believe that that was meant for me. I don't trust it. And that tells me that this program is still running the show. It's still running me. It's influencing how I make decisions and how I follow through. And I mean, it's not like I'm a total flake. Like I show up, but I don't follow through. So, starting this channel, I've kind of gone back and forth with, and again, like, it's the same thing where I've gone back and forth, and I'm like, is it right for me? Is it not right for me? Is this really what I want? And that's just, for a man, that's just, you feel like I don't know what my role is. I don't know what my purpose is. I mean, it's a very unsettling state of mind to be in, especially for a man, having to do with like purpose and inspiration and providing security for friends and family, especially family. So I've kind of had to figure a lot of this out myself with just contemplation, and then seeing the patterns that I have that show up, and it's only been kind of really recently that I've seen how it's slowed me down. But then I think about like I'm the kind of person who believes there's like a reason for everything. There's a reason why this is turning out the way that it's turning out for me. And the process and how it's unfolding my life and my life story. So this is almost like kind of like a confession to something that I'm starting to get more clarity around. I'm starting to like understand it better, and going back to like the root of where it started from. And a big one is my childhood. And a lot of times that's the case for everybody with the shit that we're struggling with and dealing with. The reasons why we do things, the reasons why we have certain behaviors. I mean, childhood. It's like, it's kind of like the same old story, you know, but every story is unique to you. So mine is an upbringing that was just completely consumed by a religious dogma that made me feel like I had to question everything, and that it was never good enough, because good enough was like, it was kind of like having to be perfect like Jesus Christ, and always striving to be perfect. And I never got that at all. Like I was like, why do I have to be that? Why isn't what I am now perfect enough? Isn't what I'm doing now perfect enough? Am I not good enough? And in what way am I not good enough? Is so confusing to be a kid in that environment. It made me depressed. It made me depressed. It made me a lot of things. I had a lot of bottled up, stuffed emotions, thoughts, confusion. It was eating away at me, especially as a teenager. Like, and as an adult now, looking back on that, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I'm always making these excuses of why something isn't possible. I did a little short today, and it kind of ties in with that, about limiting beliefs. And I have a problem with that. But I notice it more now. Like, I catch it. I catch those thoughts coming in. I'm like, no. Mm-mm. You're not going to continue to do that. So I catch them, and I don't stew in them. It was almost like in the past, like I would relish in them. I would just feed it. I would just get lost in it and feed it, and then, pity myself, just pity. Gross. Really gross. In the past, especially in my 20s, I kind of wondered if that's like why I really struggled with love and women, was because they could maybe sense that energy. And that's not an energy like a woman wants to be around. Like, there's no like confidence in that. Like, he's gonna protect me, and he's emotionally capable and strong, and no, like, that kind of energy is just kind of gross. And My dad, I learned a lot of that from my dad. My dad was a professional victim. And I played the victim card for sure. I've definitely gotten a lot better because, I don't want to end up like my parents. I don't want to end up in that state for the rest of my life. Like I at this moment right now, I can't imagine living the rest of my life like that. I'd rather, I don't know. I was going to say I'd rather go to prison, but I mean, I just can't imagine. It just feels like suffering. So I'm coming up with things that I want to change, and holding myself accountable and being transparent with things I deal with, and making a video like this and sharing it publicly is pretty revealing, and you can get a lot of judgment from it. And with the way that I grew up, with how I always felt like everything I did was being judged, I'm I feel almost like used to being judged. It's like, it shouldn't faze me. And I mean, I have to accept the fact that I will be judged. People are going to do it. It doesn't mean I have to let it affect me. This is a moment to make a conscious effort to say it doesn't have to be perfect to start something. It doesn't have to be perfect to start moving forward with an idea of something that could be so life-altering and beneficial for you. It's a risk. But everything in life is a risk. And when you start to look at life in the way of that, what do you want to look back on? How do you want to look back on your story? And is it a story that you're proud of? Is it a story that you value? Do you look back and say, I'm glad I followed through with that? I like my story. I feel like I'm living the role that I was meant to live. I'm using my talents to their fullest extent. The talents that I was born with. The talents that make me unique. The talents that allow me to have this amazing experience in this world. And I think that's what I'm doing right now with this. Because, I don't have the perfect setup. It's a phone, and that's it. It's a phone and me and the things that I talk about. So, I'm every day that goes by, I'm more and more done with these limiting beliefs and allowing these thoughts to overrule the possibility of I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I'm just not, I can't live like that anymore. And I've had to let a lot of people go who were dragging me down, like the energy. And that's okay. Like, there's new people to meet. There's new circles to enter. And I'm ready to enter those new circles. There's only one way to figure it out. And that's just to go through the process. And that's to go in with it full hearted, ready to take it. Because there's going to be a lot of things that are really uncomfortable. But that's what growth takes, is discomfort. I just hope that the things I share, as I continue to share, that people out there can feel that they can relate, that they have someone they can relate to, that you don't feel all alone in these things. That you feel like you can share openly, and just, even if it's just that you want to be heard, you want someone to witness it, to recognize, you. I believe that's why storytelling is so healthy and important for us. And I want to continue to share my stories and the experiences I've had and the things that come up for me that I want to share. Because like I said, there's all sorts of things that I'm interested in. The world is an incredibly diverse, interesting, intriguing, mysterious place to be. I mean, there's just so much. I think that's all I got on this. No more limiting beliefs. There's times they'll be there. There's times where I might struggle with them more. But the more that I pay attention to that, the more that I work with it, the more that I look it in its face and say, you don't have control over me. I'm not going to allow this fear to take this from me. The more opportunity I feel is going to present itself. Nobody knows you exist if you don't go outside. You got to get out there. You got to be strong within yourself and have the confidence that you know yourself best and what's best for you and what you need to thrive. So, take it easy.